All right, so the Royal England have shown up. They have taken 2 vital points to keep their semi-final hopes well and truly alive, and they've beaten New Zealand, who suffered their first loss of this year's T20 World Cup. It had plenty to enjoy, that game between England and New Zealand at the Gabba, the difference being just 20 in the end. We'll look back at key moments of that game, of that chase. What was the difference on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. Stephen Fleming will join us in a moment. Before that, Robin Uthappa and Tom Moody in studio. It got us excited, that game, Tom, for the second game running. Glenn Phillips gave us reason to believe New Zealand might pull off a heist here. But did the better team win on the night?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think the better team had won. Phillips, though, just goes to show when he's at the crease, you know, and he's one of those players, you know that anything is possible. He's really showing now the world stage exactly what he's got, what he's capable of doing. You know, his power is extraordinary. He just needed, you know, obviously some pressure taken off him from the other end.
Yeah. It's the kind of win that makes you feel really good if you're England. We're wondering if the real England is still arrived at this World Cup or not. They tick a lot of boxes today, Robbie.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they were very clinical with the way they bowled. The right changes as well. So you got to give credit to Joss Butler and Sam Curran for me. I think he's a gun death bowler and just showed us today how good he can be at the death.
It's a far improved death bowler as well. We'll come to Sam Curran in just a moment, but I wonder what Stephen Fleming makes of that innings, which took off just when you wanted it to take off. I think, Flem, there was a period of 5 overs between 11 and 15 when they got 57, and you thought, yeah, New Zealand are in this, they're probably going to do this. Wickets kept falling then, and then we have to, I guess, given New Zealand have ended up on the wrong side of the result, analyse the Kane Williamson innings with some scrutiny.
Yeah, we do, but we also have to acknowledge that the last quarter of England's bowling was outstanding. We've sort of been talking about how to use the dimensions of the ground in your favour, and England in particular have a lot of experience through playing county cricket, where often the one side is very small, so they get very smart at how to operate. And I thought they were outstanding the last 5 overs today, and it actually won them the match. New Zealand were well placed going into that last quarter, but that 5 over burst with Wood, Wokes and Curran was some of the best closing of an innings we've seen at this tournament. Yeah, Williamson, we from a New Zealand point of view would have liked to have seen him accelerate. He got through that awkward period where they created a partnership again, but he's just not icing the cake. He's just not getting away and getting that extra sort of 10, 15 runs ahead of what his strike rate needs to be. So yeah, he'd be disappointed. You saw that with his when his dismissal took place, the anguish on his face. He doesn't usually give too much away, but he'll be lamenting that and wishing for a little bit more.
It's a tricky situation New Zealand find themselves in, Tom, because it's not. I don't know if there is a gun batter waiting in the wings who's who probably gets room into this side. There's Mark Chapman, there's Michael Bracewell, and there's Martin Guptill. And you've seen this in the dugout. You want Williamson to fire. Everybody wants Williamson to get the runs. But even if the innings are going longer now, is it fair to say they're costing his team in a chase?
Look, I thought there was a lot of good signs with Kane Williamson tonight, but as Flem said, that he just, again, just didn't find, particularly sort of, I suppose, the last third of his innings, he faced 40 balls. So let's say even in the last 10 balls, that you'd hope that 10 balls he may get 20 runs. Then he's caught the game up. It's a bit like Virat Kohli the other night against Pakistan. You know, he was nearly going just a tick over a run a ball, but he then just pressed the button and suddenly it looked so different in his next 10 balls. So that's exactly where Kane Williamson's sitting at the moment, but he's finding it difficult to start that fire to be able to just turn the next 10 balls into 20 runs. So instead of being 40 off 40, he's 40 balls, he's 55, and suddenly it's all looking different. You've got another 15 runs, you've got Phillips firing at the other end, and you are well and truly on course to chasing that total down.
Robbie?
And the fact that he hasn't been in the best of form, like we've seen him being able to bat in T20 cricket in the past, so that pressure also could be adding up, but he's probably over trying, he's over keen, and that's probably catching up with him as well.
Do you sense bowlers also don't fear bowling to Williamson right now? If I could compare him with Kohli, like Tom says, I think there's something about Kohli where I think Williamson's falling more in the Steve Smith category now than the Virat Kohli one.
Yeah, for sure. I think the way they approach the game is pretty similar, but I think Virat has the ability to be able to hit sixes once he gets in, and whether it's a spinner or the fast bowler, he'll be able to get those couple of sixes away. And I think that Kane Williamson doesn't augur that kind of confidence at this point in time.
Flem, just if you want to give me the final word on this, is it again one of those matter of time? Williamson will have a good game. We could go with him, or is that conversation somewhat changing around Williamson?
You're not changing. You've locked him in. It's almost like the KL Rahul. You're just trying to just squeeze every inch out and just look forward to a performance that is Kane Williamson like. We acknowledge it's under par from our high expectations of him, and he's just treading water, but the signs are there. He just needs to get that one behind point for 4 or become a little bit more accurate with some of his boundary opportunities. They're bowling better to him, maybe a little bit straighter, so it's not allowing him to score through that point area, that gully area, which has been so productive for him for a number of years. So there's been an evolution in the way that teams are bowling to Kane Williamson, but he's good enough to conquer that. And there will be hope. New Zealand will just hope that as long as they continue to stay in this tournament, that he builds to something. Let's hope for the final from a New Zealand point of view.
Yeah, well, they take that. If he plays the way he did in the last final, I think you'd be happy to keep Kane Williamson in your side as a big match player. Let's give credit to England, though. They've managed to turn this game around when momentum switched. So let's talk about the evolution of Sam Curran, the bowler, Flem. It's been a while since you had him in the CSK dugout. I don't think he was doing this role back then, but it looks like he's added a thing or two to his T20 bowling.
Yeah, he sort of was. It was part of his role. It felt like he was searching a little bit, and we were asking him to do some different things as well. So there was a little bit of a standoff at times. But Sam's strength is he's unpredictable. At times he can get on the wrong side of it. There were a number of balls that were praised tonight as being good depth, which he thought, if someone was on song, they were sort of in the slot. So there's an element of luck to what he does, but he's just so plucky. And he just has that confidence. And when things are running, those types of deliveries where you miss by a fraction, you get away with. His changes of pace are very good. His awareness of the game is very good at getting better. And he just executed very well tonight. He had a majority of the balls, which we've been saying, majority of the balls were delivered where the batsman had to try and get it into the deep outfield or manipulate something to go over the short side. So he really played that well. It was a smart 12 deliveries from Sam.
Now, you faced him. I'm just trying to think, if you look at him, if you just sort of write down the package without seeing it, you think, he's not very quick, he's not very tall. Batters should be able to line him up over a period of time, but it's not happening this World Cup.
No, he actually uses his height to his advantage. He's in, I think, the trajectory that he bowls in, and it's very hard to get under the ball. So when he nails his Yorkers, you can barely get anything off him. So I think he's really worked on his accuracy there, and he's using it to his advantage. And he's able to change those lines very, very, very sharply. He can go wide Yorker, then he can go leg stump Yorker. We've seen him do that to someone like Andre Russell, where he's gotten him out a couple of times down the leg side. And he's very sharp with those Yorkers. If I'm not wrong, very recently got somebody else around the leg side. Was a leg stump Yorker. So he's very accurate, and you must give credit to him. I think he's worked on that since 2021.
He's still young, so this is a proper cricketer. He's a serious cricketer, handy in this format. It was a real nuisance for India in that test debut that he had. So Sam Curran, the package continues to impress and grow.
Yeah, huge upside. I was lucky enough to work with him in the 100 this year in the UK, and he bowled a bit of death for us there. To be fair, with a bit of mixed results. But one thing with Sam is you throw him a challenge, he'll bite your hand off.
Yeah.
He just loves a challenge. He's up for a fight. And the exciting thing with him, I just think not only his bowling, but his batting will just get better and better. So you've got a package that can potentially, not now, but potentially bat top 6 as a lock, and then someone that can bowl 4 overs. It's a rare commodity. And the other thing that is unique, well, it's not, it gives him that little edge with regards to his death, is just the angle the left arm creates. And I think that's always handy from a batting perspective. It's always a little bit harder to line up that angle.
Would you guys be surprised to know that he's actually worked with us on our show?
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, well done. So that's, you're obviously down to...
Just putting that down as well.
Okay.
Yeah, cricketers do a little bit of broadcast work and just, kill it after that.
It's about the third time you've mentioned, so obviously you had a part to play in it.
I was just going to credit him because he's the one who said. Stephen Fleming said he only works with the best. So he's talking about the platform, of course. But anyway, all right, let's behave ourselves. Quick wrap up on this, Flem. How much would you review this game? Is there an over-analysis required, or would you just say a couple of catches in the field that we just got that, we might have been chasing 150, 160 and we would have been in it? Or New Zealand still, is there a vulnerability that's been exposed here which is still a concern for New Zealand if they say play England again in a final?
Well, England flexed some muscle today, and I think all the way through I've been a little bit nervous about this game. I just feel England, when they do get confident and they get on a bit of a roll, they're going to be quite hard to stop. From a competition point of view, it would have been handy probably for New Zealand to knock them out tonight because they'll get better, they'll get a bit of confidence. New Zealand point of view, they've just got some areas to tidy up. Tonight was clumsy, which is a little bit unusual for New Zealand. The catches, just a couple of options during that first 20 overs. And I'm still not completely sure the team balance is right. Bracewell's sitting there coming off a great series against Pakistan, and he's not getting a look in. Is it Sodhi? Is it sort of Neesham role? You just got to have a little bit of a think about that between the next game and then lock it in and see how far you can go. I wouldn't overthink it. They won't overanalyze it. You've got some players who are due again, and you just hope that the T20 form, the cricket gods smile again at some point on Finn Allen and Conway, and they get that start, and then everything looks pretty good. So, yeah, a couple of misfires at the top with the bat, and a little bit clumsy with the ball. So not a great performance, but minimise the damage with only a 20-run loss. In the context of the competition, that's not too bad going to the last game.
Well, since you've touched upon it, Flem, it's just one league game to go, and they're not using Jimmy Neesham, the bowler, a lot. So if you had to make a call, would you bring in Bracewell for Neesham ahead of Ireland?
Well, we were talking about Sodhi. We went with Bracewell and Sodhi, but I analysed sort of what Jimmy Neesham's role has been. He's not taking the ball, he's not bowling at all, and his batting is somewhat limited to just a power game at the end. It's just whether Kane wants to use that extra bowler and have the right arm off spin. Glenn Phillips can bowl that as well, so that's something we haven't acknowledged, that there is an off-spin bowling option there. So it comes down to a line call of the power batting, and I think they prefer Neesham. His form has been very good at sort of 5 and 6, so maybe that place is squashed. And Sodhi, the way he bowled, so I probably answered the question there. They'll stick with what they've got and roll through.
You get the sense that when Flem's talking about New Zealand games, there's something else going on. Otherwise, when he's objective on the other games, or the Aussie games, he just spits fire.
He's very hard, isn't he? Very hard indeed. I think he's right, though. I think that ship has sailed with Bracewell. That conversation was very much alive and worth considering a game or two ago, but I think Sodhi's proved his value, and I think Neesham, they need that power of Neesham down at that sort of number 6 area.
They'll be looking forward to a game against India, perhaps. They fancy India, don't they? These days?
They do in these ICC tournaments. There's one team that India need to be wary about, and it's that one.
Yeah, points table will tell you, though, this has implications for Australia. They would have hoped New Zealand do them a bit of a favour and actually beat England and try and level out what they suffered at the hands of New Zealand on the opening day. But as it turns out, that net run rate could very well be decisive. Australia have a game against Afghanistan, England play Sri Lanka, and they have the advantage of knowing exactly what the equation would be when that game happens on Saturday, the only game at the SCG. Australia-Afghanistan is on Friday at the Adelaide Oval, which is the afternoon game after New Zealand and Ireland will play out their last game. New Zealand are still looking pretty with that net run rate, so they just need to get the job done, you think, against Ireland, and any margin should suffice. Australia's chances have taken a big blow today?
Massive, but then, they've only got themselves to blame. That first game was a disastrous outcome. There's one thing losing, but losing like that, this is where it hurts. Yeah. So it looks, like obviously, they're relying on other forces to, play their hand so they can play finals, which you'd think is pretty much unlikely.
Yeah, it's quite a shame that we had this chat on ESPN Rick and for Unordered about dynamic scheduling. We lost an England-Australia game. How good would it have been to actually get those points decided in any kind of game? But unfortunately, they'll have to just share the spoils. Right, that is pretty much a wrap. It's a big thank you to Robin Uthappa and Tom Moody. Stephen Fleming, I look forward to your company for the semi-finals now, which I'm guessing should have New Zealand in it. Would you like to just sign off with the next 3 and lock it up? No Australia, like you had predicted in our pre-tournament preview, if I remember?
That's right. I wasn't going to mention that. I'll recharge the batteries after the graveyard shift the other night when Robbie got a good night's sleep. So I'll recharge and I'll see you in a week, and I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much. Why don't you try doing something about that internet connection? Well, you got a few days off, Flem. But thank you very much.
Yeah,
for your time.
I will.
Good night, sweetheart.
See you, Uncle.
It never ends.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Tom. Join us tomorrow morning then. Zimbabwe against the Netherlands and then India v Bangladesh. Plenty to discuss about India. They need to get their campaign back on track. Cannot afford to slip up, cannot afford any lost points, can't even afford too many rain affected games. So there is still lots to play for in this tournament as it reaches the last 3 or 4 days of the Super 12s. We look forward to your company then on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout. And do check out the all-new Cricinfoverse with Grand Vitara. It's something new that we've started for digital innovations. You could go check out the Cricinfo Studios, a virtual tour of it, make your own avatar. Also check out the all-new Grand Vitara with Maruti Suzuki. All right, look forward to your company tomorrow morning. Until then, from all of us, it's goodbye.